Fam, good morning. Good morning. What's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Today on the show, we're talking Alabama versus LSU. And what we're going to do today on the show is I'm going to open up the call line from the jump, 205-850-1994, and we can hit on any of the topics. All right. So I've broken it down into Alabama versus LSU. If we want to call in on hit on any topics regarding Alabama versus LSU and talking about college football trending topics over on the right. Or if you want to talk Alabama basketball, maybe a little bit recruiting, I'm down with that as well. I appreciate you guys coming in to the show. Let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate you guys being here. It is almost that time. We are almost to Saturday for Alabama and LSU. How you guys feeling about the game? Is your anxiety lowered? Has it high? Has it risen? I think when you look to this game, there's a lot that is on the line. Clearly, we know it's a playoff elimination game. Nobody has to tell us that. We know what's at stake. Nobody has to tell us that. You guys catch the Hey Coach show last night with Coach Kalen DeBoer? Thought it was absolutely hilarious when Pee Wee called in. Pee Wee's always the first caller, right? And he called in and he wished Coach Kalen DeBoer and his wife congratulations on the new baby that they announced. Well, the thing is, there's this Facebook channel that continues to post these stories about Alabama football players having babies, and like Jalen Milroe having twins, and Ryan Williams having and it won't stop. And recently they said that Coach Kalen DeBoer is having a baby as well. It's a rumored Facebook channel. And so much so that our beloved Pee Wee got caught up in the mix. I get it. So, that happens. Even somebody asked me, they were like, yo, congrats, Jalen Milroe's having twins. I was like, I didn't hear that. So, but these Facebook channels are monsters. So, I just thought that was hilarious. Look, this game, Alabama versus LSU. So, when you call in any of the topics, this is what's on the slate today. But while you guys check in, I appreciate you coming in. And nothing has happened with Caleb Cunningham yet. Todd, what's up, man? I appreciate you being a fan funder too. But Steve Whitfong, recently, we're talking about Caleb Cunningham down here. Recently, Steve Whitfong said that Caleb Cunningham is being heavily pursued by Ole Miss. They're trying to get him to flip. This isn't a shocker considering he's the number one player in the state of Mississippi, but he said that they're doing everything possible to flip him from the Alabama Crimson Tide. As you know, Caleb Cunningham is an absolute five-star. He is that guy, and I know Alabama is going to return every single wide receiver going into this next season. But Caleb Cunningham, I honestly think with his skill set, I think he would play sooner than later. If you haven't seen his highlight tapes, do that on your free time, right? All right, Alabama taking on LSU. Here's the weather outlook by our good buddy, North Alabama Storm Chase. And it looks like the weather's starting to subside. I think like yesterday or a couple days ago, we were worried that there was going to be a huge storm and there's going to be tons of rain. As you can see, it looks like a 30% chance for the tailgate that it's going to be raining. 81 degrees in Baton Rouge. Game time for the kick at 6:30, 76. 30% chance of rain. And for the fourth quarter, it looks like it's going to be 75 degrees with no rain. So actually turning into a pretty nice day for college football on Saturday. And look, I'm not too worried about the weather. Like, we live here in the Southeast. Like, it rains all the time. It was raining again this morning. And it's like, it happens. And the guys were practicing with the wet ball. But I mean, I'm not worried about the weather this coming weekend. But I do love this graphic. And I do love to talk about the weather each week. So that's been kind of a cool addition that we've added to Bama Football on YouTube. All right, here's a look at the college football schedule. I'll take your guys' calls here in just a second. I'm going to open up the call-in line from the jump today, 205-850-1994. So here's a look at the Big 12. So in the Big 12, you have, I guess, the marquee game that we're watching. I listed two of them. So I listed Colorado taking on Texas Tech. The game is in Lubbock. So the Buffaloes fly down to Lubbock for a game where Colorado is favored by 3.5. Now, as you know, Texas Tech just this last week handed Iowa State its first loss of the season, scoring a touchdown there in the later part of the game. Colorado now ranked 20 under Coach Prime. BYU is traveling to take on Utah in an in-state rivalry game. Remember, no Cam Rising, but the line, I was surprised to see it's still -4. Expecting it to be tight. These rivalry games, and Utah still does play a little bit of defense, so curious to see how that one goes. I haven't even checked the weather, how it's going to be in Salt Lake. I know in my home state, back in, when I used to live in New Mexico, they got like 30, 35 inches of snow in some places today. Absolutely wild weather in the West. Big Ten football, the college football slate, I guess, Purdue at Ohio State. Ohio State's going to roll them. Look at that line, 38. My goodness. Purdue that bad? Michigan at Indiana. All right, so stay with me here. Okay, I get it. This Michigan team is not it. Lost a lot of guys from last year's national championship game. Head coach, all this stuff. Not even ranked anymore. That's crazy. See, like when Alabama wins a championship, they don't come back and just fall off the map. That is just wild. They're just like, they're not even like relevant. So they're going on playing this Indiana team who's ranked number 8, who's 9-0 on the season. The line is 14, right? Bloomington. I've never been to Bloomington. 14 points favorite. But look at this. I was doing a little research. I have that game underlined clearly because they are an undefeated team. We're watching the undefeated teams. But like when you look to this chart by Winspedia, I love this site. Look at that. Indiana has just won one time since, this goes back all the way to 2003. And that was back in 2020. Does Indiana win this game again? I guess. Michigan's not that good at all, but What's up? Elijah, what's up, man? Good to have you here, bro. Thanks for being on the show. All right, ACC. I underlined Miami and Georgia Tech. We like Georgia Tech here. Brent Key. We got Brent Key taking on Mario Cristobal. How about that? Pretty soon, all these coaches will be from Coach Saban's ecosystem, right? Someone put out like a tree, like a coaching tree. It's crazy. Like he has so many guys that he's coached. It's unbelievable. Any chance? Is anyone taking Georgia Tech in this game? I'm not. Look, now, look, Miami's going to absolutely roll through. I thought if any team was to do it, it was going to be Syracuse. Syracuse quarterback threw 5 interceptions against Pittsburgh. I'm not buying Clemson anymore after Clemson got beat by Louisville. And what's interesting is SMU is undefeated in ACC play. So I guess if they continue to win out, it would be SMU in Miami. How about that? How about SMU coming straight into the ACC and just running through it? SMU. And the crazy thing is SMU is the first team out. All right, here's a look at the SEC, the Premier League in college football. News just came out just right now that Florida is going to keep Billy Napier. I'm not surprised to hear this news. And you know what? I probably would have said this a couple weeks ago. Yo, Billy Napier fought for his job. That seat was hot. It was the hot. He was seriously on the hot seat, 100%. He's able to battle, play some good football. Yo, he kept his job. Florida's going to keep him. You got to think at some point Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss, right? Florida taking on Texas. Florida will be without their quarterback, right? Texas just lost a wide receiver. Not to an injury, just basically it said it didn't work out, so he's going to go somewhere else. You see that? So you have some Florida and Texas news taking place like right now as we speak. I guess the second biggest game in the SEC is Georgia taking on Ole Miss, right? Outside of Bama and LSU. All right, let me get a is there anybody? Okay, who wins this game? Georgia or Ole Miss? Game is in Oxford. Georgia is favored by 2.5. Type G for Georgia. Type O for Ole Miss. Let's just see what it looks like. I would imagine it's 70% Georgia. as much as I like Lane Kiffin, as much as we all like Lane Kiffin and the schematics of him, and I know they're pushing hard for Caleb Cunningham and all this stuff, and Jackson Dart is throwing for like 500 yards a game, they do not win big games. They don't. Like, he's another coach, not as bad as James Franklin, but he doesn't win like big games against big teams. He can get his team ranked into the top 10, but he don't win big games. So a lot of people, there's a couple people going for Ole Miss. It looks more like 60-40 just from eyeballing it inside the comment box. Yeah, everybody's talking about Florida keeping with Billy Napier. I'm not surprised. The guy absolutely fought for his job. Greg is asking a good question. What's up, Greg? Appreciate you being here. Kyle, I got a question. Not that it matters, but a serious question. Do you think Alabama would be undefeated if Saban was head coach, the same coordinators from last year? Hypothetical question, clearly, but I appreciate the question. It is worth thinking about. I don't know. I haven't really had time to think about that. I would say they probably would have beat Vanderbilt. And, oh, man, that's a damn good question. I don't know if they would have beat Vanderbilt now that I think about it. Maybe they would have beat Tennessee. They probably would have just lost one game. And I think they would have been able to make better. Just looking at last year's coaching staff, I think where they were better than this year's coaching staff is they made better second half adjustments, right? So, for example, I think in the game against Tennessee, how about this? They would probably beat Tennessee. They would have probably beat Tennessee or found a way to beat Tennessee. Not Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was like kind of like that Clubber Lang. They were going to beat you, right? But I think Coach Saban and his staff did a great job in second half adjustments, and Alabama did have the edge going into the halftime break. It wasn't until the second half where Tennessee took advantage and made better adjustments than Alabama, right? We saw that happen in the Georgia game too. Alabama had a great first half plan. Second half, I think Georgia outcoached Alabama and then just made some plays with their playmakers, able to win a critical game. But I would say if Coach Saban and his staff were still on board, they probably have lost one game. But it is worth thinking about. I mean, I just think that last year's staff did such a great job making second half adjustments. So, good question, though. I appreciate it. Other games, this is a good slate of games in the SEC. South Carolina and Vanderbilt, yes, please. That's going to be a hell of a game. Who are you guys taking, South Carolina or Vanderbilt? Type SC for South Carolina and type V for Vanderbilt. Man, I kind of want to take South Carolina, but Vanderbilt just balls out. That's a tough one to pick. South Carolina or Vanderbilt. That's a great game. I can't wait to watch that game. Gamecocks. Bama fans taking SC. This one probably be split. This one be a damn good game. Elijah's taking South Carolina. Timothy, South Carolina. Most people taking South Carolina. Mississippi State taking on Tennessee. I should be all Tennessee. Alabama and LSU, obviously. And then Oklahoma taking on Missouri. That's actually kind of an interesting game, too. Actually, look at this. Oklahoma is favored in that game. How is that possible? Unranked Oklahoma. Oh, maybe it's because of the quarterback and the fact that they're banged up. That's why. That Vanderbilt South Carolina game, that's a good game. All right, Alabama basketball in action tomorrow night. We'll have a more in-depth preview tomorrow. But taking on Arkansas State. Alabama rolled in its home opener against UNC Asheville by a score of 110-54. If you haven't had an opportunity to jump on like the Alabama basketball bandwagon, there's so much room. jump on, enjoy this basketball team. The only problem is for like me, games are super late. I go to bed super early. I guess that comes with age. But yo, this team, the crowd is enthusiastic. And it's not boring to watch because it's so up tempo that it's really entertaining basketball. I would imagine Alabama's favored by like what, 20 some again. Going against the former coach too, right? Here's a quick run through at some of the lineup. And again, call line is open. I'm going to take your guys' calls all morning. We're going to hit on a variety of topics. So this guy up at the top, yo, just wait till you watch him. If you didn't watch him the other night on Monday night, watch the basketball team Friday night. This guy's a freshman. Yo, he's a superstar. Sears, you already know him. Graduate. Superstar. Aiden Holloway. Yo, the guy can play. Can shoot. 11 points in the opener, right? Right cell, he's healthy. Grant Nelson looked a little bit rusty. What's up, Patriot Life? I see you inside the comment box. Grant Nelson looked a little rusty. He'll shake it off. We know what he brings. Chris Youngblood, when he gets healthy, he'll be good to go. I'd imagine when he's healthy, he'll be a starter. Yo, this guy might be one of my favorite players right now on the team. Mo Diabate. Oh, my goodness. Yo, this dude off the bench is just – he's great. And then how about finally a rim protector, right? Clifford Amori. Last game, 16 points, 10 rebounds, close to a double-double. 2 blocks. He is that guy, I promise you. There's no, like, hyping him up. He's that guy. Jaren Stevenson, man, so much talent. And Sherelle down there as well, number 22. Basketball team is absolutely fun to watch. They have it. I mean, this is the team. So I don't know how far they get. The schedule's crazy. If you look to the schedule on who they play, absolutely loaded basketball schedule. All right, so how we're going to conduct the show today is I broke it up into, so when you call in, pick a topic that you want to talk about. So you can go Alabama, LSU, Alabama versus LSU kind of overview, Jalen Milroe versus Garrett Nussmeier, or just talk about each of the quarterbacks. Keys to beating LSU. What makes you nervous about this game? Kalen DeBoer versus Brian Kelly. Injury report. I don't know if you saw this, but every single Wednesday night, the SEC releases a student availability form. I'm sure you saw it on your recruiting sites or the sites you look at. Alabama has 2 marquee guys out, Keon Tabb and Cole Adams, right? Patriot Life in with this super chat, man. What's up, Patriot Life? Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, Patriot Life. Good stuff. For LSU, they're missing a starter on offense and a starter on defense. So each team missing a starter on each side of the ball. They listed like 16 guys that were probable or hurt. I wouldn't look too much into it. Ole Miss has like 20 guys on their injury report list. But I think that's part of kind of Lane Kiffin's trolling mentality. Literally, if you saw that list, did anybody see that list? It was like everybody from Ole Miss was like probable or questionable. Not really buying it. And then in terms of like what's trending, you got college football playoffs, of course. Who wins, Georgia or Ole Miss? College football pretenders, Alabama basketball. Caleb Cunningham on Flip Watch. And, I need to update that bottom. It should be Keelan Russell. I'll update that real quick. And as you saw, the quarterback, who is a 5-star phenom out of Texas, just announced yesterday that he is fully committed to Alabama, which I think is huge. I mean, that's another sign of how things are going behind the scenes with Coach Kalen DeBoer. So, I mean, when you look to recruiting, and I have that graphic updated, my mistake. I'm responsible for all the graphics on here. So, Patriot Live, man, you hooking people up today. Appreciate it, man. Keelan Russell is 100% committed. He's a 5-star quarterback. And that should show you right there just how well things are going on behind the scenes for Alabama football is the recruiting. Number 1 in the country. Yeah, and if you haven't seen, seriously, write this down. Watch Caleb Cunningham, his highlights, and watch Keelan Russell. Like, what this guy is doing in Texas-level competition, I mean, the guy, he's it. He probably make a push to play next year. I know. I want to go there. 865, let's do it. I think we got Angel calling in for Pigeon Forge. Angel,
What's up, Kyle?
what's up, Angel? I appreciate you being here, man. Good morning to you. Go ahead, man. Pick a topic.
Yeah, doing all right, man. I'm going to focus on football. That's our bread and butter here.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think Alabama is really good on defense. They stepped it up since the last game against pretty good tough teams like Missouri, the shutout last week. I think that will be a big part of this game, defense, because it's going to be more of a defensive battle than a scoring shootout. And Garrett Nussmeier, he's a great quarterback, but I think Jalen will make the better plays in this game overall because we've seen Garrett Nussmeier against Texas A&M, right? He was frustrated. He threw a couple picks in that game.
Yep.
But I think Jalen will have his most complete game with 2 touchdowns running and then 2 passing. And I really think I think he's going to be a really good player on that. But also our receivers, they got to come big in this game because we can't keep having drop passes, missed routes. I mean, you probably saw it with Ryan Williams a couple of times and people missing their assignments.
Yeah.
But yeah, and especially our defense as well. LSU's going to attack that secondary because we're hurt right now with Keon Sabb being out and the inexperienced players like Bray Hubbard. So I really do believe that Alabama will come out on top against LSU. And I did try to call Kalen DeBoer's show last night, but they didn't even take my call because I was going to ask him about this game, whatever. But it's all good. That's why you're calling your show way better now because they handpicked the calls or whatever is what they were telling me. Some fans or whatever. But I'm not really upset about that really because I understand it's a lot of heat right now.
Yeah.
But give me Alabama over LSU, Kyle. But anyway, roll Tide, man.
Yeah, roll Tide. We'll talk tomorrow too on the score prediction show, man. I appreciate you calling in. All right, take it easy, Angel.
All right, thank you, man. Roll Tide.
Yeah, roll Tide to you too. I think as we were talking about yesterday and talking about it on this column where it says Alabama versus LSU on level 2 here, Jalen Milroe versus Garrett Nussmeier. You have 2 high-level quarterbacks, right? I can't wait to see the matchup between these 2 guys, each out of the state of Texas, going head-to-head. Jalen Milroe talks about the respect that he has for Garrett Nussmeier. I have a lot of respect for the guy, too. I thought he's put together a really good season. I would imagine that he throws the football, what did we say, Jarvis, 40 times? I think that's what we put the over-under at. So certainly that is worrisome because of Alabama's secondary issues. With Jalen Milroe, I think it's a money game, honestly. I think it's a draft stock type game. I think that people are right now, all eyes are on Jalen Milroe because, let's say the first half of the season, he's it. The last 3 games, he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So people are like, hey, was this a mid-season slump? Were you going against really good defenses? Has something happened? Is it the offensive line? Like, what can you do when the lights are shined on bright? Because this game, there's no bigger game that Alabama has played in up to this point in time besides this one. This one has far more at stake than that Georgia one. And I know that Georgia victory, that's kind of what they have in their back pocket. That's why they're in the playoffs. But this is a do-or-die type game. So big-time players rise up. As you know, last year he did just that. He outplayed Jane Daniels. He scored 4 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns using his legs. So you got to have a monster game from Jalen Milroe, 1,000,000% to be able to win this game. I think Patriot Life in with another 5 fundership. So I appreciate it, Patriot Life, taking care of the whole family in here. I think if Jam Miller runs the ball for 15 times, you win. I think if Jalen Milroe is able to account for 4 total touchdowns, you win. Those are some of the keys of the game that I'm looking at going into Alabama versus LSU. We go back to the phone lines. We got a 770. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. It's your buddy Jimmy. How's it going, man?
What's up, Jimmy? I appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you so much. Pick a topic, any topic. Go ahead, man.
Oh, man. I'm a little nervous. I'm just a little – I think we're going to win, no problem. But I'm just a little nervous about Jalen throwing the ball. I hope he don't have to throw more than 30, 35 times in this game. I'm hoping the run game kind of looks like we did against Missouri. So that's pretty much the only thing I'm worried about besides the weather. Has anybody heard about the weather in Louisiana this weekend?
So we have North Alabama Storm Chase, who's one of our active subscribers inside the comment box. He puts together this graphic before each of the games. So it looks like the rain is starting to alter its direction. So a couple days ago, it looked like 80% rain during kickoff time in the fourth quarter. And it looks like the rain chances every single day is starting to subside. So it doesn't look like weather is going to be a factor in this game, which I think – I kind of was hoping that it would rain because I think that makes it more challenging for a team that has to throw the ball to win, which is LSU. If the weather's great, that Garrett Nussbaum, we both know this, Jimmy, that you have to attack Alabama's secondary to win, period. And he's going to throw the ball. Right. I'm saying 40 times maybe, and that's going to be the challenge. But it's an opportunity for this secondary to show that to the playoff committee that they are playing like a playoff caliber football team and that they can win on the road. Right. We know you win and you probably host a playoff game. You lose, you're out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's pretty much the only thing I was just kind of checking on was the weather or whatever. And either way, I think if it did rain, I think we still got the talent to win anyway. So I don't think that was a big factor. My biggest thing was Jalen throwing too much. But as long as we got the run game going, start off good, start off fast, I think we probably wouldn't have a problem at all beating LSU. And if they get Nussmeier throwing a lot, that may be a good chance for us to get a couple picks. But we'd have to take advantage of that once we get that. But I think other than that, I don't really have any other concerns. I know Sabb is probably going to be out and Braylon Hubbard's playing, but that Braylon Hubbard's, man, he's a ball hawk. So I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to do well in that game as well. I mean, he is all around the ball. So I think, in my opinion, especially in the Missouri game, I think he gave the defense a lift. Mm-hmm. So. I think we'll be fine on defense, man. Like I said, Braylon Hubbard, he's balling, man. He's a ball hawk. So I know they'll probably try to attack him, because he's a safety. He's hadn't played much, but nothing against Keon Saab, but Hubbard's playing too, and he wants it. And so I think we'll be fine. And hadn't got our score prediction or anything just yet, but I think we'll win by 10 though.
Yeah. 10 points. All right, man. I appreciate the call, Jimmy. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, Kyle. Take care, buddy.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right, good call from Jimmy from the 770. And we got a super chat in from the Zanny Phantom. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I think the weather, I was a little bit concerned that the weather would play a factor in this game. It doesn't seem like it's going to now. As North Alabama Storm Chase has said, inside the comment box, conditions should improve closer to game time as we continue to look at the data. And then I think with Bray Hubbard, I do agree with Jimmy in this. Like, he did bring that extra spark. Sometimes guys off the bench, the second level players, when they come in and they perform at a very high level, it is an added boost. Now, he is going to be challenged. He has allowed some receptions, but one thing that Bray Hubbard does bring to Alabama's defense, which I don't necessarily think that Keon Sabb has, or really anybody in the secondary, this is just my opinion, is kind of that boom factor. Like, Bray Hubbard is a hitter. So he has a nose for the football. I think he had, 7 or 8 tackles in this last game. On the season, he has close to, 30 tackles. So he's a guy that can clean up. I really like his playing style, but I think if I'm LSU, I'm challenging him. I'm challenging Xavier Brown, but that's just football. I mean, Xavier Brown's a freshman. Every single team has challenged him, and you got to go after their safeties, 100%. I mean, that's their vulnerability. Let's see if Alabama has, if they can step up to the challenge. Because, look, just as I think Gelato mentioned, LSU has a tight end who's elite. They have 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers that can stretch the field. You remember Aaron Anderson, right? He's certainly one of them. We go back to the phone lines, and we got a 225. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Rayburn from Mississippi.
Hey, what's up, man? Did you say Raven?
Rayburn.
What's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. Welcome to the show.
What's up, dude? So clearly, if you see my area code, you'd say I'm an LSU fan. Came stumbling across this. I just wanted to ask you, what's your realistic score prediction for the game?
I think the total score, as I'm feeling, it's going to be more than 60 points. So I'm looking at like a 37 to 31 type game, 37 28 type game, Alabama. The problem is, and what makes me nervous on the left side is, like, you'll never find me picking against Alabama, rarely, right? Maybe I think a couple weeks ago I probably would have picked LSU. I'm picking Alabama in this game. That's my pick for tomorrow. I do think Alabama will be able to move the football more effectively against LSU as opposed to Missouri, as opposed to South Carolina, as opposed to Tennessee. I just think that LSU's defense has some holes in it. With that said, LSU, I think, gets to the quarterback, I think, out of like the 10th best team in the country, which is terrifying considering that Alabama's right side with their right tackle and their right guard, they're just not it. So I think there'll be a lot of points now that the weather's clearing up a little bit. It's going to be hard to keep LSU off the board, clearly. What about you? How many points do you think will be in this game total?
I'd say somewhere around 70 or 80.
Yeah.
Being, I mean, have you despite all that, have you been to a game in Tiger Stadium before?
Yes. I went to a game a couple years ago, and it was amazing. I mean, it was like, I didn't really know what to expect when I was going over there, but the traffic was crazy. It was a beautiful day. And even though kind of that back end of Tiger Stadium is open, it is ultra, like the stadium's kind of like vertical, and it's ultra loud. I think it'll be louder than Neyland Stadium. So if they had issues at Neyland,
it'll shit on Neyland.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it is. I think that might be the toughest place to play in college football when you have a game of this magnitude, 100%.
Okay, yeah. For me, I'm thinking. I personally think that the spread, as far as the game goes, as far as everything else is looking, it looks as though the betting market is kind of favoring LSU, and the fact that they're only laying 2 on Alabama, but that's also a testament to the home field advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I personally took LSU minus 6.5,
Mm-hmm.
Solely because I've watched Alabama all year and I've watched LSU all year.
Yep.
LSU took a tough loss last week to A&M, but that was solely from a coaching standpoint. We weren't ready for Reed, and so I coming off a bye, both of us coming off a bye. Brian Kelly hasn't lost a game underneath the lights in Tiger Stadium since he started with LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I think LSU handles business, but that being said, I don't think Bama historically. I don't think we're seeing the same Bama team historically that we would see normally. So I think it'll be a hyped up game. I think that this game is a playoff game in the fact that both teams have a chance at making the playoff, but you got to win this one. So expect Tiger Stadium to be super rowdy, and that's why I give LSU the edge, 6.5 points or so.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Absolutely. I mean, that stadium, you look at, and I think you're right, too. I mean, you look at, this is not the same Alabama team that it's been in the past, and it's not the same SEC that it's been in the past, right? And I think, though, kind of the common factors, though, is like the play of Jalen Milroe. It's always so difficult to judge because, man, like, look what he did last year, right? Well, look what he's capable of doing. He's just such a tough player to prep for. I think, too, if Alabama can get a ground game going and kind of win that time of possession, I think it certainly gives them a better opportunity. They do not feed Jam Miller. For example, the most that Jam Miller has rushed the football this year is 15 times against South Florida. So they love more quarterback designed runs with Jalen Milroe, which I get, right? I mean, he can handle it. But I think if they feed this running back, even Justice Haynes, it would give them a little bit of an edge in this game. Anything else that you got before you bounce out? All right. Next call. I think he hung up a little bit too early, but good call. I appreciate the dialogue. 910, you're up. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yo, what's up, Kyle? This is Christian from California.
Christian, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in this morning. Good morning to you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Good morning to you as well. My what I kind of wanted to touch on was just we already know what Alabama has to do offensively when it comes to LSU. But it's really going to come down to our defense. and how we prepare for Nussmeier. Not really too worried about LSU's run game per se, but the defensive line has to control the line of scrimmage. They have to make Nussmeier uncomfortable. And then our secondary, this is what our defense is built upon, stopping these type of offenses. We're running a 4-2-5 that you can turn into a 3-3-5 if you ever needed to, or you can go into a big dime look. So you can do a lot of different things out that 4-2-5. But it's really going to come down to how do we play in our one-on-one matchups. Once you get out of the cover 3, cover 2, and then you start hitting a certain landmark and start going into that man phase of the zone. That's going to be the main thing. And so those young guys that we got, and some of our inexperienced guys that we got that might be, a little bit older but still haven't seen this type of offense, because this is an explosive offense, man. It's going to really be how do these guys match up deep into the game, because I anticipate that first half being close, real close. And I think because, you're playing at LSU in a night game, they're going to be hyped up and they're going to be emotional, okay? So LSU in that first half, they're going to keep it close. It's going to really depend on what Alabama does in those second half adjustments, which for the most part, I'm not too confident in when it comes to our second half adjustments. I feel like Alabama likes to go, well, this is our game plan. We're going to run it till it fails. And you got to be able to make some type of adjustments. So what do you got to kind of, I guess, to kind of say about that, and then I'll kind of go on to
I think those matchups between LSU's wide receivers, tight ends against Alabama's secondary, I think that's going to be a pivotal part of this game. And I think when Alabama has not faced an effective quarterback really this season besides Carson Beck, and that was second half Carson Beck, because the first half Carson Beck, Alabama ate him up. What'd they get, 3 interceptions or whatever? And credit to him for being able to battle back in that second half. A lot of quarterbacks probably would have hit the transfer portal or started crying or whatever. That guy just came back to work in the second half. That was really impressive. But other quarterbacks, maybe besides Pavia, like, who's been affected? I guess Sellers was moderately successful, but a lot of the quarterbacks, they haven't faced a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier. And I think they have the wide receivers to stretch the field, which is concerning. The other thing that I'm really worried about on this Alabama-LSU column, what makes me nervous, is the right side protecting Jalen Milroe, or being able to help kind of facilitate maybe a ground game. Elijah Pritchett, Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked about Elijah Pritchett earlier this week, how much confidence he has, and he didn't really say that he has confidence in him. He just said that he's seen him grow. Like, look, I'm sure he's a great kid. He's working his tail off. The right tackle is just that's a problem area, and that's a vulnerability, 100%. And when you have LSU who's able to get after the quarterback, and when you look to how many times Jalen Milroe has been sacked in SEC play, that is concerning. And I think that will also be something to watch in this game immediately, because I think if Tiger Stadium can keep kind of the pulse and keep that momentum, it's going to be hard to take that away. That was something that Ohio State did against Penn State, was they took Happy Valley out of it. Right after that early turnover or whatever, they controlled that entire game. It wasn't really a factor. So sustaining a drive, keeping Jalen Milroe upright, so important. What else you got, Christian?
I 100% agree with you. I think that right side of the line, they're going to need some help. Whether you have CJ Dupree or Cuevas, whether you have them help or chip block or just kind of slow down that defensive end over there, man, because they're going to target that side. We're crazy to think that they're not going to target that right side of the offensive line or dial up some type of pressure or some type of delayed blitz at some point in time in a crucial point of the game. If we don't get that taken care of, or we don't have a good game plan to combat that, Alabama's offense is going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble, and I don't really know if most people look at who Alabama's played against. Alabama's played against 5 top 25 defenses, and we're 4-1, with Tennessee being the one that we lost to. And the thing about Tennessee is Tennessee's top 5 in almost every single one of the categories, but Alabama should have still won that game. If we would have protected Jalen Milroe, or if Jalen Milroe would have made a couple more passes, that's a win. And the offensive line on that side that right side of the field has been giving Alabama trouble the entire year.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because last year it was the left side and the center. We get those two taken care of, and now the right side. So it's more of trying to figure out how to cover up that part, maybe have a running back stay in and have a max protect look with a tight end also over there just in case, or have a chip block in a delayed tight end route or a chip block or some type of screen pass, because I don't really see Alabama run those type of screen passes anymore, and those defensive ends are getting in pretty quick. You start to see them shoot upfield, maybe run a little screen pass right underneath them, and it might slow them down just a little bit. But you got to have a game plan against LSU and Death Valley.
Yep. Yeah, good call, Christian. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for chiming in this morning, man. Take it easy.
All right, man. You too.
Christian with the call. Yeah, I look, I talk about this all the time. I wish that this team ran screens. I like screens. Even when I'm playing this silly video game, which I never do, I run screens. 3rd and 5, I'm gonna throw a screen to Justice Haynes. I'm gonna pick up the first down. Could someone do like a quick data search? How many screens has Alabama ran? I don't even know like how you would find that out. You'd have to like basically chart it every single game. I think they ran one screen. You know, the screen where you have, kind of your lineman go out and you just pitch it to your running back. Do it all the time. I think they ran one, it was crazy. I think they did it on 4th down and 20. Is that the only screen that they ran this year? Surely not. I don't know. All right, we got Chris from New Jersey coming up next. Call-in line is open. Chris, what's up, man? I appreciate you joining the show. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Kyle, how are you, my friend?
What's up, man?
Well, I'm me. I'm just like win, baby, win. But I think this is right now. This is the Super Bowl. I think if Bama wins, Bama's going to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So the whole season is riding on Saturday. Now I'm gonna take a little different turn, and I'm gonna go back to us freaking out or when Saban retired. We were under assault by the America trying to get our players, and we got Kalen DeBoer, and you sent Taylor out to the airport in the freezing cold, and now everything that we discussed, all the happiness, it's all now riding on Kalen DeBoer and coaching. Do I think that this is like that we're very evenly matched? I actually, believe it or not, I know people could say whatever they want in the chat. I think we're a better team. I don't think Nussmeier is the best quarterback we faced. No, definitely not. I think Alabama has a better team. I think we certainly have a better defense. But I think everything is going to come down to those phone calls we had in the winter, Kyle. Coaching. This is the time to shine now. This is the guy. Is he going to be Saban 2-0, or are we getting something else? They've had a lot of the season to adjust. Remember Womack? We buried Womack, and he's risen recently in the last couple of weeks. He's really stepped up his game. Sheridan. Now when we say Sheridan, you got to say Sheridan DeBoer, because listen, he's the offensive genius, right? So they've had a week. We've had a week to heal up, but even better, we've had a week to come up with some kind of offensive game plan that's going to put points on the board, run the ball, control the clock, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, the three keys to this game are coaching, and coaching. So I'm pumped, Kyle. I'm very, very positive. I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be very close, and I think that I hope you have a couple. I think you should have 2 other change outfits just in case during the game. That's how important this game is. 3 hats, maybe 4 hats. I know you got a whole closet full of hats, Kyle. So I'm so pumped. No prediction. I'm going to say win, baby, win. I think it's going to be very close. We're going to be freaking out to the end, and I pray we prevail. And we're going to have, if you do your show on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon or not till Monday, we're going to be talking about one thing, Kyle. I believe. we're gonna and even I've been on Milroe all year. I think he's been great, and I was so disappointed in the one performance and blah blah blah. But I'm gonna say this: we're gonna talk about how great Kalen DeBoer is, or oh my God, Kyle. And I don't want to say the latter. Let's not even say it. So that's my rant today, Kyle. So.
Yeah.
So I'm so pumped. I'm pumped for the watch party. I am. Everybody in the chat. We've got to keep each other calm. You got to keep us calm, Kyle. But this is right now. This is the regular season Super Bowl. If that makes any sense. This is win this game, we're in, and if we don't, we get the hula hula bowl. So that's what I have to say, Kyle.
All right, good stuff, Chris. I appreciate you, man. All right, Chris from
all right, brother. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. All right, Chris from New Jersey calling in. Yeah, I mean the level of this game out of 10 is 10, 11, and I think it goes much more than just winning this game to make the playoffs. And as I've explained, you lose this game, there's a lot that could go wrong from losing this game. So. We know all the ramifications of this. The great thing is Coach Kalen DeBoer, I love his answer on Wednesday, the SEC media conference. They asked him, or the media availability on Wednesday morning, asked him if he knew that his thoughts on Alabama being ranked number 11 in the college football playoffs. He's like, I didn't even know that. And that reminded me of something Coach Saban would have said, right? And look, I have no idea. Like, I really think that Coach Saban, he didn't know, and I don't think he cared. Because he knew that it's just make-believe, right? And same thing probably with Coach Kalen DeBoer. He knows that he has to win this game to continue to keep the playoff hopes alive. Nobody's talking about Mercer. Nobody's talking about Oklahoma. Nobody's talking about Auburn. I think each of those games presents challenges. Obviously, the Mercer game is the Mercer game. Hasn't Mercer just lost one game on the season? We go back to the phone lines at 225. Hey, what's going on? You're online with Kyle Henderson. Who am I online with, and where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Baton Rouge, man. Born in Baton Rouge in 1952 and been involved with this LSU Bama game since 1960 was my first game.
Awesome. I missed your name. I'm sorry about that.
Cliff.
All right, Cliff calling in from Baton Rouge. Go ahead, Cliff, and welcome to the show. I appreciate you calling in.
Well, first off, for all your folks that are listening to you, I have always enjoyed Alabama fans. I've got my RV set up down in Gulf Shores at Doc's RV, and I got Bama on my left and Bama on the right and Bama in front of me. And but it's a knowledgeable football base, and of course, when Coach Saban went there in 2007, it all became a new level because. I can't tell you. It was at Christmas when Coach was on that Millionaires airplane out at the Baton Rouge airport, and he took off and flew to Miami, and it just crushed us all. Mm-hmm. But and then he went to Alabama, of all things. But just talking about this game, from an LSU standpoint, we all kind of got excited about this team and going into A&M to beat A&M. Mm-hmm. They put in a running quarterback. And they acted like they'd never seen, that offensive set. And the young man only threw the ball 2 times in the entire second half, and they just ran over us. So, Baton Rouge is sitting here knowing, especially after last year, what you guys can do to us with a running quarterback and doing what you do. And don't believe anybody in Baton Rouge has a good, warm, fuzzy feeling when Bama's coming to town. You guys have beat us so many times, but we love beating Bama. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be at the game expecting to beat Bama. But I just want all the Bama folk coming over here having a good time, and it is going to be a great game. And if I go outside, I'll be hearing Roll Tide. So, but I got to say, go Tigers! And I'm enjoying watching you on YouTube.
Oh, thank you so much, Cliff. Before you go, I had a question for you, and I appreciate the dialogue. So, 2 questions for you. The first is, what's your assessment been of Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback this season for LSU?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, everybody in Baton Rouge loves the young man. He's just a great guy, and he takes everything very personal, and I think he feels like he has the whole team on his back. what every football fan in Baton Rouge is aware of, he doesn't have a running game, and and I don't understand a new offensive coordinator. I don't understand Coach Kelly. One of the great coaches in college football. How you can be so unbalanced as a football team, this late in the year, and put so much pressure on your. This is his first year to play as a starting quarterback, so he just comes into the game with so much pressure on him. Arm talent is off the chart.
Mm-hmm.
The throw that he made on fourth down to tie up the game, with everything on him, so he can make those throws at the most. Pressure just doesn't hit him. That was a beautiful throw, and then the throw to win it in overtime. So we're all on his side. We have more concerns about how the games are being played. Why don't we have how can we have the best offensive line in the country when we can't run the ball? And what's wrong with our offensive staff with not having a balanced attack? And we do have running backs. So that's what we can't understand. So we'll see. But as far as quarterback goes, if he throws in rhythm, you're in trouble. Because if he's got a 2-foot window, he's going to put it there.
Yeah. Secondly, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I kind of put an over under that he throws the football 40 times. So I think I think people have been mixed on that. I mean, if you look at his passing chart, he's thrown as much as 50 times this year. I would imagine that 40 times seems somewhere what we'll see him throw the football. The other thing is, and I'm not trying to cause rat poison, or I just would appreciate just an outside view from a non-Alabama football fan. Do fans outside of Alabama's ecosystem under Coach Kalen DeBoer, do they see Alabama football this season a little bit more vulnerable because of, I don't know, Coach Kalen DeBoer's approach being so different than Coach Saban?
Yeah, what I saw, and I know this guy's record, so I know he's a great football coach, but you're replacing the GOAT, and I know he knows he's replacing the GOAT, but Alabama doesn't seem to have the discipline that they've always had, and they don't seem to have the focus on defense that they've always had, and they're almost leading the country in penalties, which is an expression of
yes.
And look, when that kid, number 13, kicked that ball at the end of that game, and he didn't get any kind of discipline, he didn't get sit down, he didn't get put one game or nothing. And I know he's a great player, but talent can't overcome character of the football team, So that one play right there expresses to me the lack of Coach Saban and the lack of a little bit of fear from the coaching staff for consequences. And they got their shirts hanging out. They just don't seem to be that monster that all of us in Baton Rouge, be in Tiger Stadium and see Coach Saban come out and see the monsters come on the field, and in our guts we knew we were going to lose the game. We don't feel that way in Baton Rouge for Saturday night. We feel like it's a different team. And I'm not saying you guys are weak or anything, but y'all don't have Coach Saban anymore.
Yeah.
And I hope for Bama fans, I love Bama, and for this new coaching staff, I hope they turn it around. But, I know everybody's all the other side of what could happen Saturday night, and I definitely am not saying it's going to happen. LSU can score some points, and LSU can light up a weak secondary. I mean, LSU has the ability, if we get up on Bama, like Bama got up on top of Georgia, if Bama can come back and do what Georgia did in the second half, or do what Texas A&M did in the second half, we'll see, won't we?
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate the call from Baton Rouge, Cliff, and thank you so much. We'll be looking to see the outcome of this game. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
All right, man.
All right. Cliff with the good call on this upcoming match between Alabama and LSU. We'll take this 678 right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
My name is Sean Wiley from Hogansville, Georgia. I want to talk about Saturday game anyway, because I've been watching all the games and stuff.
Okay.
And so I've been keeping up with it and the rankings and everything. And what I want to say is we gotta, if anybody didn't really notice that we've been nickel and dime in Missouri, and nobody didn't realize it because of how Coach Kalen DeBoer was getting on to people on that game. It should be like every game. You shouldn't have sitting here and just lay back and not expect everything to come happen. No, for you to be a head coach, everybody got to be coaches. Everybody got to buy into the game. Everybody got to get on to people. I don't even care about any of that. I want to see the old school football. That's what I really want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see RPO going on like we did. Like for Georgia, we shouldn't have gave up 34 points. For Tennessee, we should have gave up them 24 points.
Mm-hmm.
Any games that we gave up points, we shouldn't have gave it up points. We should be undefeated right now, to be honest with you, because I've been looking at that every time, and I was like, why is the coach laid back?
Yeah.
Besides Maurice, and I've been thinking about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Maurice ain't laid back.
Yeah, on the line with Sean calling out of Georgia. Yeah, I think one of the things that I did like from that Missouri game, besides the execution, I get it. Missouri, we've talked about that. There was a depleted team. But I love when he was, they showed the clip of him coaching hard on Rock Montgomery. Whatever it was, like, that coaching hard is coaching love to us. And when you follow SEC football, that's the type of fire in the belly that you need to be able to get these players of this level here in the SEC. Like, he's never coached players of this level. I get it. He's coached all over, but like, this is a different caliber of type of player. And they're probably used to being coached hard like that to be able to get the best out of them. I do agree with you in terms of like the second half adjustments with the defense. And this will be another, in terms of like limiting points, like your point for, allowing Georgia to storm back. And I think that was because Georgia's coaching staff just did a great job in the second half, and Carson Beck didn't put his head in the sand. This will be another opportunity, just as Cliff from Baton Rouge said, if you give this guy time, he is going to connect with his receivers. And, some of the times Alabama, who is ranked number 4 in the country in turnovers, they don't send a lot of pressure. I would like to see more pressure if they can get it against LSU. LT Overton, he's got to have a big game. Q Rob, he's got to have a big game as well. Maybe some safety blitzes or something like that. But some of those one-on-one matchups you got to be worried about. Make another point, Sean, before we move forward.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Because we got to play nickel and dime. Because you know how last year we gave up 28 points last year to LSU, which we shouldn't have done that. Really, I mean, I can understand about with Caleb McKinstry with turf toe and stuff. I mean, if you're injured from last year, you should just go on and stay. Because if you think about it, Caleb McKinstry didn't run a combine, so why would you go to the NFL and then you're not going to run the combine? Because for pro day, these guys don't even know if you're going to run a fast time or not. They could just tell you, hey, look, you need to go back to college because we can't accept that. You're injured. We can't do nothing about that. We can't just sit here and just lay you back and, you days gone and stuff like that. No, you should just go to college, stay in college for one more year, because Nick Saban said, and I think it was a COVID year, you only have one more eligibility.
Yeah.
So really, all the players could have, if you're an injured player, stay. That way, worst come push shove, you in the NFL, you're in the first, second, third round draft. Okay, we got that. We get that. But at the same time, at the end of the day, play your best game. Every game should be your best game. If you need to be like I said, Alabama should be a balanced team. You should be nickel and diming the dog crap out of them. You should be sitting there, not laid back, but getting on to every player. Hey, look, you're not doing this play like I told you to do. Cuss them out. That's what I want to see. Cuss them out. Because the whole offensive defensive side of the ball out. That way, you're not laid back. You're not comfortable in any of that. That's what I want to see on Saturday. I don't care if you need to punch your play in the face. I don't care about none of that. Go out there and play football. That's what I want to see. Give them an old-fashioned ass whooping. Like the dude said, belt to ass. Do that.
Good call.
That's what I want to see.
Good call, Sean. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, good call from Sean. He wants to see that old school football, right? We'll take another call, 205. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on line with, and where we're calling in from.
Yo, what's going on? This is Darnell Steele. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. How you doing this morning?
What's up, Darnell? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome in from T-Town, man.
Appreciate you. Let me say at the outset, yo, that this is my first time viewing your show and everything, because I was on here watching Jalen Milroe's interview that he did in First Off the Field on WVTM last night and everything. So I said, let me click on this show right here and see what my man's got going and everything, and you know what I'm saying, folding some laundry. So I said, I'm going to take a minute to, call into the show and at least, try to give my opinion and voice my opinion. So thank you for what you're doing for the Bama community and also just for, the football community in general, yo.
Absolutely, man. No doubt, man. And I get it, man. Laundry is laundry, man. It just never stops.
Yeah,
you got to, and in laundry, the way you got to attack laundry is attack it right away. Once it comes out, once the dryer stops,
you can't let it sit around.
Attack it, because if you don't, guess what? Life will start stacking on, and you'll be walking by, and you'll look at the dryer, and there'll still be clothes in there. And then you know what you do? You go and get the clothes, and guess what you do? You put them in your hamper, or you put them on your bed. And that's the worst thing that you could do, because the next thing you know, guess what happens? You have to make dinner. And then after dinner, you want to watch a show, right? If you drink responsibly, you might want to have a little cocktail. And guess what? By the time it's time to go to bed, that laundry's like, yo, what's up? Anyways.
Yeah, that one's like, hey, it's like over here, you forgot about me, didn't you?
All right, man. So besides that, man, let's dive into it. Pick a topic. Basically, since it's your first time calling, usually we call on we have topics. So you could talk, anything Alabama, LSU, what's trending. So it's pretty much open mic Thursday. So come with it, man. I appreciate it. You got Darnell from Tuscaloosa. Go ahead, man.
Right. Well, today I want to. Can I address a few topics on here and not like in a long expose, but just to say a few things on it or whatever? Yeah. Because like I said, I'm a pretty, experienced person. All right, man. So LSU and Alabama game coming up this Saturday. Probably really, seeing a lot of playoff implications in this game between Alabama, who's right at the threshold of where we need to be to make the playoffs, but also an LSU team that's looking to get an impressive win too. Every game from this point in, bro, is a play-in game in the tournament, and it's like we're trying to play our way, and we really shouldn't be in this situation because we really should have won that Tennessee game, and we really should have won that Vanderbilt game. But I think what happened in the Vanderbilt game was that sometimes you get a little bit ahead of yourself, and you say to yourself, well, since we beat this team last week, we can just come off and take this week. We can take the week off this week. But what you got to keep in mind when you're experiencing greatness like Bama is, even if they don't win a single game in the entire year, if they beat your school, it is a successful season. Yes. So that's what I think Alabama should have took that type of mentality into the Vanderbilt game. But I digress. I think this LSU and Alabama game is going to be a great game in every sense of the word. I think it's going to be a very intense game. I think it's going to be Jalen Milroe's first time actually playing at Death Valley. So, you can expect nerves in the first beginning of this game. You can expect him to be a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, but I think he just needs to calm down and remember who he is. I think a lot of times players forget, that they can actually play football because they look at the environment, you know what I'm saying? And they be like, wow, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, but I do think that Jalen Milroe can have a great game. He needs to channel his inner Georgia Milroe and morph into him on that night and everything.
You bring up a good point, with Milroe going on the road to LSU. He has played in big time environments before. That's kind of the experience factor that a quarterback like Milroe has. The first time, remember, if you rewind to a few years ago, first chance we got to see him was against Arkansas, right? So you got to see him against Arkansas, led the team to a W after Bryce went out. And then last year on the road, he went to Kyle Field, right? And him and Jermaine Burton, that was when they balled out. Then the 4th and 31 against Auburn. Against Tennessee, that was a different place. So it's tough to win on the road. It'll be tough to win on the road in this type of environment. But, he does have experience, and they do have experience playing. I think Coach Kalen DeBoer even said yesterday that they've had speakers with like music or noise behind them during the offensive performance this week, which is understandable. It's not on the board here, Darnell, but when you're looking to X factors outside of Jalen Milroe, who would you kind of point to X factors within this game against LSU?
I would point to a guy like Jahad Campbell. I think Jahad Campbell. I think Deontay Lawson. I think Rusov's going to be important. I think the corner that we got, the guy that transferred in, the light skin. I can't think of his name for nothing right now, but the light skinned kid that's out there at corner for us. He's a really good cornerback for us and everything. And I think
so the corners for Alabama is you got Xavier Brown, the freshman. You got Damani Jackson from USC.
Yeah, Damani Jackson. Yeah, Damani Jackson. He's going to be the one that has to step up. And the thing I say about this, too, is that you should never have to tell star athletes what their responsibility is. This Saturday, they should feel a sense of responsibility and a sense of belonging in the captain's seat of saying that I have to lead this team on defense. And they have to say to themselves that this is the job that I need to do while I'm out here. I'm stepping into this moment. I'm going to be a leader, because leaders do fail at times and leaders do get beat. But the thing about it is you should never run from your responsibility. The talent that you've been given as a player, the talent you've been given by God to do your job and accept that responsibility, whether it comes with success or failure, because you're going to experience both. But I'd rather be standing up, believing in myself, saying that I can do this. If I'm playing in Death Valley, I can do this. I'm the best player on this team. I'm a guy that's the nucleus of this team. And we should be able to step up as a core of players, even if it's 4 or 5 of leaders on defense. We should step up together and try to lead this team to victory, at least on defense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate the call, Darnell. Call in anytime, man. I appreciate you joining the show, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, man. God bless you. I mean, roll tide.
You too, man. Take it easy. All right. Fam, I appreciate you. If I didn't get to your calls, you can call again tomorrow. Tomorrow is a score prediction show. So what we do on Fridays, you call in, you give me a score prediction as well as the game MVP. And I kind of like this format with kind of the Alabama versus LSU, or the game, and then kind of what's trending. So I know there's a lot of trending college football topics right now. Like one of the big ones is Billy Napier to be retained by Florida, which honestly, I'm not surprised to see. And I also kind of think, this Georgia versus Ole Miss game, it's massive. I can't wait to see that one as well. You also have South Carolina taking on Vanderbilt. You got Alabama basketball playing tomorrow night, which should be absolutely another great opportunity to see this incredible. I'm serious. This basketball team is unbelievable. So there's a lot to talk about, and I appreciate you guys. So come kick it with me tomorrow. As news happens, I also have videos. So if there's like breaking news or something like that, I'll publish a video. If it's like mega news, I'll go live. Next weekend, I will be out of town. As I explained, my grandfather passed away peacefully last week, so the services are back in New Mexico. I live here in Tuscaloosa. I lived here for 8 years, but I'm going back to New Mexico next week from Thursday to Sunday. I will have shows from New Mexico during that point in time. This is my livelihood. This is what I do for a full-time basis. But I will be, traveling from Thursday to Sunday next week for the Mercer game. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for supporting me. If you threw a super chat in, Patriot Life, I appreciate you guys. If you guys are members of the Undefeated, or what that means is signing up to be a fan funder, basically funding me, Kyle Henderson. It's as low as $2.99 a month. I really appreciate all the support. Thank you very much. I hope you have an amazing day. Remember, these shows are also uploaded to Spotify and to Apple Podcasts. We also have a really big Alabama Crimson Tide Facebook channel that does not post fake news. Basically, just another opportunity to talk Alabama. I basically treat it like my website, Alabama Crimson Tide on Facebook. I think we got like 40,000 followers or something like that. I hope you have an amazing day. Be good people. And I will catch up with you as the news happens, or tomorrow morning on my score prediction show. Coming to you from beautiful Hollywood. I call it Hollywood because of Ryan Williams, Hollywood. Coming to you from beautiful Hollywood.